Hello, my name is Shantae from Brown Sugar Talks under Black Unicorn. So today I'm going to talk about some signs of PTSD or trauma. Um, I'm doing this one because I just had a cop stop by my house, and he says when he said, "So then, what's wrong with you?" It's like, wait a minute. I know I don't look like the typical person with a mental health issue. I know. I probably don't even sound like it either. But I have one. Okay, so I do have PTSD, which is post-traumatic stress disorder. And it's saying it's often like something that people see as invisible. You could be totally telling somebody you are fucking with me right now, like you are actually triggering me, and the person could actually be thinking, no, it's okay, I'm just gonna push the button harder, because you don't look like you have survived trauma. So the first one is in their eyes. So this one is saying a Cardiff University and Swansea University researchers recently released a study that looked at the pupils in the eyes of trauma survivors, which can be measured when shown images of stimuli. So the pupils of the trauma survivors showed an increased response when looking at both threatening and non-threatening images. In general, trauma survivors tend to take in more sensory information than the average population, which can often lead to a whole host of other issues, including overwhelm and fatigue. There is also a link between high sensitivity and trauma. So somebody could be like, "You so sensitive," and it's like, do you know? And I think we're more sensitive to other people, like how you want things done or whatever, and it probably has nothing to do with trauma. It could just be you really particular, but it's like you actually start to feel more empathy towards people. Now, if you meet a trauma survivor and they don't feel empathy, then you must know that there is another mental health issue in there besides trauma. You understand? So that's the whole thing. It's like, yeah, we're sensitive, and I don't think it's much. I don't think it's too much. If somebody just tells you don't do that, or it's irritating to them, then don't do it. I thought that some things were like some of my son's issues, though. He has like some of the sensitive touch issues that I have. So that's something that has nothing to do with trauma, but it has more to do with just him and his sensitivity. Other sensitivities, like if I hear a noise, what else? If I don't, like I said, if people are following me, if I don't feel safe, if I don't trust the person, if the person is not a positive person that I see most of the time, like it's a lot that go into it. So yeah, I just don't trust a lot of people sometimes. And like I said, I get this like feeling in my stomach sometimes, like I think it's something I heard about that too, like I don't get irritable bowel syndrome, but it's just like sometimes it's like it's hard to like for real try to leave the house, because I think about that stuff. Like if I go out the door, if somebody gonna say something, if I go to the store, if it's gonna be the wrong thing said, if I do something, you see what I'm saying? And then living with a person that was probably or having two people that actually have mental issues. Like I think Marcus may be a sociopath, and then Brandon was claiming to be bipolar, which I don't know if that's true or not. But for both of them to actually want to stalk me this long, you have to know that there's another mental issue involved in it. Like I said, it could be Machiavellianism, it could be narcissism, or they could be psychopaths. So you have to really think about that too. So anyway, that's part of it. And especially if they don't stop and look and see that I'm actually having issues. A lot of times I don't show that I'm having a problem. I try to hold on to it. And if I do, then that's when I start to get the waviness and the disconnect between what's actually happening and what's going on in my head. So yeah, that's what happens. In the brain scans can reveal a number of insights as physical proof of trauma. In trauma survivors, it's common for experts to observe a number of brain changes in several areas of brain and overactive amygdala amygdala, which controls the fight or flight response, means the survivor can be in a state of hypervigilance. A weakened prefrontal cortex makes it difficult to concentrate, and an underactive interior means emotional regulation is more difficult. I don't know what any of that means. All I know is sometimes it gets wavy. Sometimes it's like I said, it feel like you like high, like I'm on drugs or something, or I'm drunk a little bit or whatever. And I don't drink or do drugs, so it's just like that's what happens. Like it just like even now today I already did a show or whatever, and before I was leaving I already had that feeling in my stomach before I was going to the store, because I had just had an issue with a man on the bus. I cussed his ass out because I'm tired of these motherfuckers following me. But that was it. I didn't want to have another issue with this person following me. I don't want to continue to be in a state of fear for my life because people want to keep abusing me and they don't understand. And so, like I said, when people have no empathy towards you, whether you say give me empathy or not, it's a problem because, again, they got something else going on. And usually it's white people that never want to clarify shit. You see what I'm saying? They so powerful. They know everything. They God. That's what Brandon thought he was going to be God. Like, I don't even like you as a human being. So how the fuck you finna be something in my life and I hate you? You see? So, yeah, I don't know. So, yeah, I'm just really, this stuff is like so taxing. And that's what he was saying before the first one. Like, it's like you actually get tired. I get tired easily, especially if I'm having like a traumatic whatever. It's easier for me to probably go to bed and sleep good, you know. Like, so when people say how you sleep, and I love to be like, I sleep good. Especially if I didn't have like a freaking attack or anxiety attack. It's like, oh my god, I sleep well. Do you hear me? Once I get all that shit out and I was like, baby, you would think I was smoking weed. I sleep well. You hear me? In the body, in addition to psychological symptoms including depression and anxiety, there are a number of physical ailments like linked to trauma as well. Chronic fatigue. I'm not tired all the time. I move around a lot. Fibromyalgia. I don't know what that is, but I know I got like something in my ankles. You know, like I wake up and my ankles hurt. I don't know if that's older age or if it's anxiety. I don't know. Other autoimmune diseases. I really try to take care of myself. Migraines. I actually don't have those anymore. I used to have them when I was younger. High blood pressure. Night terrors sometimes. Stomach ulcers. I don't know if I have ulcers, but like I said, when I get that feeling in my stomach, it don't feel good. Irritable bowel syndrome. Polycystic ovary syndrome seem to occur more often in trauma survivors. So again, it'll affect your body as well as your mind. Trauma is one potential trigger of fibromyalgia. For example, it's believed almost half of all men with combat-related PTSD also meet the criteria for fibromyalgia, a chronic illness that puts your nervous system into hypervigilant state, causing chronic fatigue and other symptoms in addition. 64% of nearly 14,000 people diagnosed with fibromyalgia reported they experienced trauma as a child in a survey conducted by the Mighty. Treating physical trauma symptoms. I don't know. I say just stay healthy. I think that helps me more times than not. Like, especially if I'm going through like a days of anxiety, it's like I just try to eat healthy, drink juice, drink a lot of water, make sure I walk and exercise and stuff. At least do some yoga stretches. I used to do more yoga too when I was in my apartment because I was like at peace. Like when I was in Frisco and nobody was bothering us or following us or whatever, I was just like really at peace, like complete fucking peace. Like, I mean, like every day I could wake up and it was so sensual to me. I mean, if y'all go back and just check my shows or whatever, I'm telling you, like, it was a whole different experience. Like, feeling healed and being in a place where like nobody bothered me. I don't know if they wanted me there or not, but at the same time, it's like I wasn't being bothered, you know. So as opposed to being in a place where I'm being bothered and it feels like somebody's just scratching on a fucking board every day, like trying to find a way to fuck with me. So it's a very, very It's a very different feeling. It's so different. It's so super different. So seriously different. So let's talk about an ACE study. So I know I talked about this before. It's another black woman that talks about this, and she actually does these TED Talks. And well, I don't know if she does a number of them, but she did a TED Talk on it. And like I said, most of the ACE, the adverse adverse childhood experiences, that's actually really done on a lot of white people. Like, I know they got the face as like a black person, but it's actually most of the studies were actually done on white people, white men to be exact. So adverse childhood experiences, or ACEs, are potentially Blake, turn it down so you turn it back up. Potentially traumatic events that occur in childhood, 0 to 17 years. Experience violence, abuse, or neglect. I already told y'all, like, I used to pass out before a whooping because they was just like out of control for me. Witnessing violence in the home or the community, I didn't really witness it. It was just like I had cousins that went through a lot and ultimately died. Having a family member attempt or die by suicide, none of that. Also included are the aspects of child's environment that undermine their sense of safety, stability, and bonding, such as growing up in a house with substance misuse. Like I said, I wasn't really close to my father. I don't think I was really close to my stepfather, and I wasn't close to my grandmother. And so if you think about it, if all those people use some type of substance, whether it be alcohol or a drug, it's a problem. Mental health problems, I don't think that black people in their homes actually discuss really what the mental health problem is. It's just like, stay away from me, don't come near me. Instability due to parental separation or household members being in jail or prison. See, that's not something that I actually had to go through. How big is the problems? ACEs are common. About 61% of adults surveyed across 25 states reported they had experienced at least one type of ACE, and nearly 1 in 6 reported they had experienced 4 or more types of ACEs. And that's the thing, again, it's white males. This is mostly white male. Preventing ACEs could potentially reduce a large number of health conditions. For example, up to 1.9 million cases of heart disease and 21 million of cases of depression could have been potentially avoided by preventing ACEs. So even though it is predominantly white men, now let's think about that data and how black women have a high amount of heart disease that people were not discovering. So now when a black woman actually comes to the hospital and says, I'm having this, they actually check her heart first. Because a lot of black women were dying from heart disease. At least that's my case. Because then I see other cases on the internet and it's like they didn't check them at all. The people were having heart attacks and the hospital was telling them they was having something else. So we actually go through a lot of stuff. You think about it, my whole situation, and I have not one case where I have won anything. So even if I have a delayed reaction due to PTSD, or anxiety. So I have not one case where I have won anything when all these things have been pushed on top of me for whatever fucking reason they think they should do it. Okay? You have to really think about that. Black women are pushed through a lot of bullshit that they really don't even have to go through. And for what reason, they don't even fucking know. Okay? Some children are at a greater risk than others. Women and several racial ethnic minority groups are at a greater risk for having experienced 4 or more types of ACEs. You got to also think about women in other countries who have men who would kill them for certain things or beat them to have sex. You know what I'm saying? Where they being forced to do a whole lot of shit that they really don't want to fucking do. You even see it on some countries where the woman is just getting married and the man already beating the fuck out of her and everybody just looking like it's okay. That's not okay. Like, he just married this girl and he gonna smack her in the face. Like, what is that? Like, she can't even leave. She don't even have a chance to get the fuck out of there. And so, you actually hitting the person that actually has to cook your food. You don't know how much strength she might have. Y'all don't ever know. That's why I'm like, y'all really be thinking y'all be fucking with cats, but y'all really be fucking with eagles. And so then it's almost like, okay, when that bitch begin to fly and kill your ass, then you be saying, well, she did.